Cities are defined by their cultures. Those cultures could entail sports or business or certainly arts and entertainment. Oklahoma City is thriving in all of these areas. But who makes that all happen? This Town OKC explores the people behind the cultures, their origins, their motivations, their challenges, and their dreams. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. I've been in this town for over 50 years with a front row seat to seeing the culture grow from a dusty bus stop on the Southern Plains to a flourishing destination. Join me as we meet the folks behind the culture on This Town OKC. Alan Brown, thank you for joining me in the rehearsal studio at Carpenter Square Theater to record your oral history.
Glad to be here, Rick.
I do have to say, Carpenter Square Theater sponsors This Town OKC. Carpenter Square produces 8 shows a season, 10 performances of each show. The theater is located at Reno and Western, near downtown Oklahoma City. Free parking right across the street.
Yeah, I parked right in front.
There you go. Well, you could at this time of day.
Right.
I would like to preface this interview by saying you and I have known each other for 30-odd years.
Yeah.
I worked at the city of Oklahoma City when you were at FSB, Frankfurt Short Brugia, when the original MAPS plan passed, and you were the lead guy who came to city council.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
And then we've run into each other and hung out a little bit over the years.
Yeah.
So let me get right into this. Where are you from?
Born in Chicago.
Okay.
Yep. Moved to Blackwell, Oklahoma when I was 5. In kindergarten.
You know, the world of a 5-year-old.
Why would we do that?
Well, we'll get to that. But the world of a 5-year-old is pretty limited, you know, to the family and the block. But I imagine that was still a culture shock.
Well, yeah, right. My mother was she's from Chicago. I think she had more culture shock than anything else. I won't go into the details.
So this was a father job?
Yep, exactly. He was from Oklahoma and took a job in Blackwell as an engineer at their zinc smelter, Blackwell Zinc Company.
Wow. Okay.
It was a big deal. It was a company town. Employed, I can't remember how many people, thousands of people.
And so you grew up grade school, high school in Blackwell?
Yep, all the way through, and then graduated and went to OSU.
Okay. Before we get to college, what were your interests in high school? Did you play sports?
I wasn't a sports guy. I was kind of a band nerd and art and that sort of thing.
What instrument?
I played trombone and euphonium or baritone, horn.
Yeah.
And a few other things, but that was primarily it. Trombone during the marching band season.
Right. And then stage band.
Stage band, yeah, we had quite a program at Blackwell.
And then art, you drew pictures?
Well, I guess, yeah. I used to like to draw cars. I used to like to design cars.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be a car designer. And there's not a lot of demand for car designers, I imagine, but at some point I was reading books about famous architects like Frank Lloyd Wright and Corbusier and those Mies van der Rohe, all those guys from the 50s, and just became interested. And that was kind of the start, reading books like junior high school. Okay.
So I took a class it was called mechanical drawing.
Yeah, I took that, yeah.
Okay. I really liked it.
Yeah, well.
I knew nothing.
Missed your calling.
I knew nothing. Well, I knew nothing about the world of architecture. Didn't really even know that existed as...
Well, I didn't either, back then until I read the books, started reading books.
Yeah, see, I didn't read the books. And I did okay in mechanical drawing. But I will say that, over the years, had I known about the world of architecture and that was a career, I might have been drawn to that.
Well, never too late.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is now. Okay,
Had
so
to say that.
so you go to how big was Blackwell High School?
It was about 10. High school,
Yeah.
Blackwell City was about 10,000. It's shrunk to about 7,500 now since the zinc smelter closed because of air pollution. And high school, I really can't remember exactly how many
Do you
how many
recall
kids were in my class.
Yeah.
A couple hundred,
Okay.
maybe.
All right. All right. So you go to OSU.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. Did you pledge?
I pledged architecture. Is that what you mean?
Well, no, I mean fraternity.
No, architecture was still is kind of its own fraternity. There are very, very few architecture students that are members of fraternities or sororities.
Okay.
There's some, but I mean, there's just too much time.
It's demanding.
Time demand both sides. You
Yeah.
know, it's hard to participate in activities, I guess. But there were a few. And but we like to say we had our own,
Yeah.
fraternity. And we were there all the time at school. It's day and night.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't class, you were just there.
Sure.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I was at UCO, back when it was CSU, I hung out at the radio station.
Yeah. See, it's in your blood. Yeah.
All the time. It was a whole lot more fun than going to class.
Yeah, that it was like a fraternity. Keep touch with all those people, that you went to school with. Well, I guess most like that, but it was particularly kind of tight knit.
So 4 years, 6 years.
Well, OSU had a Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies degree, and then a graduate degree, a Master of Architecture.
Right.
That's the program I was in. They now have a 5-year Bachelor of Architecture degree that's professional. You can get a license. If you were in the program I was in, you had to get a master's degree, or in other words, 6 years in order to get a license.
Ah, okay.
So after 4 years, I was kind of a little burned out and left and worked for a while and then went back.
Okay. What did you do for work? Something non-architectural?
Oh, no. I went to Tulsa for a while. I worked for a firm there, Murray, Jones and Murray, no longer with us. Well-known firm. Did a lot of things in Tulsa. And then came to Oklahoma City and worked at the firm that you mentioned for a couple of years and then went back.
Okay. So after I met you back in the early 90s.
That's my second stint.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's when you went back and finished.
Got out in 81 finally. And so, what was it, 93? 90?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, when MAPS won. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So
good times.
you have spent your entire career as an architect.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first building you designed by yourself, or is there such a thing?
Well, I think most buildings are designed by
A person.
A person.
Okay.
There's different degrees of responsibility.
Sure. It's a team effort.
Yeah. And I was lucky in my early days to have a lot of design responsibility, like working on a lot of interesting things and working with a lot of architects from out of state. It was a good time. It's a good firm.
So what were some of the buildings
that I worked on?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I did when I in 76, I think, when I came from Tulsa, was a project in Shawnee for the Mobil Oil Corporation.
All right.
Yeah, and that was interesting.
What was that building?
Oh, it was a warehouse, and then an office building.
Okay.
Of course, we made it more interesting. And along with that, worked with their corporate architect in New York, and even went to New York once to make a presentation. I was just right out of school. Wore my interview suit and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Some other interesting buildings?
So next, I guess, was Hertz buildings. Hertz had had a presence here.
Out on Northwest
Northwest
Expressway.
Highway, and then up on Penn
Oh, yeah.
for the reservation center, which I kind of was mostly responsible for. It's now Love's headquarters, I think, or
Yeah.
one of their buildings.
One of their headquarters buildings.
And that was an interesting project too.
So tell me, school me, give me the idiot's guide to designing a building like that. I've had very limited experience with the design phase, the beginning phase of a building creation. You ask people what they will be doing in the building, right?
Yes. So I've been asked that a lot. What's the difference between it and art or engineering, whatever? And it's kind of a combination of the two. One thing is that you really don't have a building unless there's a client, a user.
Right.
You don't just go out and architect dream up a building. You've got somebody who, is going to use it. Right. Buy it, you build it, whatever. And so you've got a client. So you're always trying to work with somebody or a company or whatever to interpret what they need and want into a building. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the bottom line. It's a process. Yeah. It's a process. You start out generalities and you get more detail. And, matter of fact, somebody just a couple of days ago said, how do you decide all these things that go into a building? It's just like we were talking about the house that I did. And I said, well, it's the old thing about how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Yeah. And you just have to know the process. And that's what you learn in school too, is how to do that and how to build information and then translate all that into a design, hopefully that's expresses both its engineering and the art. Right. Which is kind of, difficult sometimes. So
I imagine some clients over the years have just not seen your vision and wanting to spend the money to make it look nice. Mm-hmm. They're very happy to just put up four walls and.
Well, yes, but I've always thought it's their building, and so you try to take their budget, their limitations or whatever, and do them best you can. Mm-hmm. You can do interesting things on budget. You just have to know what it is. Right. And
challenges are also opportunities.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You should have been an architect.
I've had my own fair share of challenges.
That turned into opportunities or not.
Yeah. Well, this place that we're sitting in, for instance, was at 12,000 empty square feet of really nasty industrial warehouse. And I had to look at the process of renovating this place by imagining what I wanted it to look like at the end. Mm-hmm. So I approached it like a film project.
Well, it's the same thing, really. Yeah. It's, and I have to say you did a great job.
Thank you.
On it. The theater that we just talked about, very creative, consideration of building codes and everything else. It's all part of the equation that goes into it. Yeah.
Speaking of building codes, we have followed all the building codes. That was one of the things the theater didn't do in a previous location. They didn't pull any permits. They did no inspections. Mm. And when we undertook this project and I was going to be the lead guy, I told them, we're going to do it right. We're going to have inspections. We're going to have codes.
It's always tempting,
because the mayor knows my name, and I don't want to see us on the front page of the paper. I want us to be in the entertainment section, not on the front page.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So.
Is there one type of building you prefer designing over another?
Well, I always sort of gravitated towards renovation or existing buildings, either remodeling, adding on to, because it's interesting. It's another factor to be able to respond to what's there, And I think the hardest thing in the world is designing what we call a green field site. There's nothing there.
Right.
I mean, nothing that you can respond to. I mean, there's no adjacent buildings of a certain style. There's no. That's the hardest thing.
The literal blank canvas.
Blank, yeah. I mean, you have to have a really strong program, or what, the owner or other requirements, the site requirements. There's a lot of context that factors into it, but I've always kind of liked responding to and fitting into, a existing context building site. So, yeah, there's that.
So primarily renovation, that's what you prefer.
Well, I should say that it's more reuse.
Okay.
Yeah. Though I was very involved in historic preservation, I think that's important. And,
Yeah.
But that's not all of it. So.
Yeah. Well, let me cut to the biggest project that I'm aware of that you were involved in, and that's the Oklahoma City Museum of Art.
I knew you were going to.
Well, of course.
That's my capstone, So, yeah. Not too many people get to design an art museum.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I think you did a bang up job on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
One of the men's rooms is a little too small for my taste, but
oh, which one's that? We're doing some remodeling. Maybe we can enlarge. Yeah, we're looking at making some changes.
Okay.
Optimizing, we're calling it. So
yeah. Okay.
It's almost 25 years old now.
Wow,
Rick, it's hard to believe.
Yeah,
been that long.
Well, the seats that we sat in before we started recording that Carpenter bought from the museum when they were renovating just before COVID. I mean, we bought those seats in January of 2020, and they were 20 years old at that point.
And they look great.
Yeah.
You know the reason why we got rid of them? Or why we replaced them? Didn't get rid of them.
The story I heard was you wanted cup holders.
Taller backs.
Okay.
More headrest. They don't recline, but just taller backs and cup holder. Yeah. And they're besides that, I think they're virtually identical, very similar chairs. But
in my estimation, not quite as comfortable as the ones that you got rid of, and that we now have.
Yeah,
because we get people remarking on how comfortable these seats are.
Yeah, we tested a lot of chairs.
I'll bet
before we chose those. So, I mean, that's part of the process too.
Yeah, sure. So, how did that project come to you, and how did you eat that elephant? Besides one bite at a time.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell the story because it's intertwined with maps. One.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of folks mistakenly thought the museum was a maps project.
It almost was. Okay. I'll tell the story.
Oh, please do. I'm going to take a sip
for the record.
All right. This is why you're here, man.
Well, some friends of mine were part of what was called the Committee of 20 that managed Arts Place downtown. It was over where I can't remember which hotel that is. It's gone now. It's been taken out after the bombing. The Melton Building, Arts Place, and it was Arts Place 2 actually, and it was a art gallery for sale. But we mounted shows and they did art sales, and the Committee of 20 actually managed the whole thing. It wasn't just a board; it actually managed it.
Okay,
you had jobs. You did things.
Yeah.
Kind of like you here.
yeah, kind of. As I recall, you even rented art.
I don't remember that, but might have. So anyhow, that was a great time. We had some great shows. Some were kind of risque, as I remember. There was one called Wearable Art that imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can.
Anyhow, so I was involved with that, and then the art museum, now art museum, was at the time there were 3 three different art centers in town. One was Art Center, the Arts Place downtown. One was the actual art center at the fairgrounds, and it was the circular building.
Right.
You remember that?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, it was the round building. And then there was and that's called the Art Center. At the fairgrounds was it originally was the Oklahoma Museum of Conservative Art. And it was in Nichols Hills. It's the Butcher Mansion.
Yeah, the Butcher Mansion.
Remember that?
Yeah, and it was, I thought it was generically called the Oklahoma Museum of Art.
It changed its name to Oklahoma City Art Museum. It was called OCAM at the time. Everybody called it OCAM.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at some point, and I can't remember how, I don't know how, those three institutions merged into one.
And when would this have been?
It's hard to say.
Late 80s?
It's in the 80s, late 80s, somewhere in there. Into one, it was called the Oklahoma City Art Museum still. The name was changed later. And it was centralized at the fairgrounds location. All collection and everything else in the Butcher Mansion was retained for a while. I think that they did some exhibits there, but it eventually was sold.
Right.
And the Arts Place downtown was closed at some point. It took a while, it wasn't overnight.
Right.
So that in the end, the fairgrounds location was it. So working with Arts Place, I got to know the director after they merged, because they now were over the Arts Place.
Yeah.
It's still around. So I got to know the director was over all of it.
And was that Carolyn Hill?
No, that was
Before Carolyn?
Before her. Her name was Jean Hagman at the time.
Okay.
And there was another one in there too. I don't think I worked with him, but he was around. Chris. Yeah, doesn't matter. So at the same time, while that was going on, and the merger, and then kind of getting involved with the new entity through Arts Place, MAPS was being formed, and that was after there were a number of efforts to lure. You know the story.
Yeah.
Lure.
United Airlines.
United Airlines,
others.
other large companies, corporations, which didn't work, and so they decided, they being mainly Ron Norick, the mayor, that
In the chamber.
that we're going to stop doing that, and we're going to look at improving the city for ourselves. And we think that if we do that improve quality of life, that will bring
Exactly.
investment.
Right.
So that was kind of a change of.
Because these large corporations were passing this over, because while there were things for the executives to do, the workers didn't have much.
The downtown was dead.
Exactly.
It was dead. And so that was another, the urban renewal was kind of a failure.
Yeah.
Because of various things, the oil bust and other stuff. So anyhow, that came along, and the firm I was with FSB, became involved with the mayor, and that there was a huge committee.
Yes.
People.
Yes.
Huge committee, county, huge committee, and started talking about what they wanted to do for this, and they had a consultant, Rick Hara, Rick.
Yeah.
All this has been out in the newspaper and other places. But anyhow, so we were there, and it was a really interesting process to watch, and so they started soliciting or accepting proposals from organizations in town of what they'd like to do, And the mayor used to say they had a stack of reports, that he had to look through. But so I was working with the art museum also, and they were kind of disorganized because they had just merged, and there was talk about we need to build a new museum. That the fairgrounds location was not.
They have outgrown the fairgrounds.
Outgrown it, yeah. And so they'd like to be downtown. I told the director one time, I said, and I'm not claiming, responsibility, but they're starting to think about this maps thing. They weren't called maps yet.
Right.
These projects that the city might build, and if the museum is interested, you ought to put together a proposal. Well, they had nothing. So I helped them put together a proposal, and we did, and also working with maps, or what became maps, helping to sort of plan where everything would go. I was able to kind of insert the art museum into the. It was really through the museum, but I was able to help them become part of the process. And they were in there and went through the whole process of discussions and winnowing down the projects, and they were eliminated. The last round, they were eliminated as a project. There were 8 projects, Maps won, and they were the last one, or the 9th project.
Oh.
So that's what happened.
I don't think I ever knew that part.
Yeah, that's what happened. And they.
Any reason given for why they were dropped off?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, there's so many competing, organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the Civic Center, which was Music Hall, which was served a number of institutions, and then there was. There's a lot of, I think part of it might have been they just merged, and they need to get the feet on the ground. Maybe that was part of it. I don't know exactly.
Well, and I know because I was involved with the city and promoting maps back in those days. There were, the beauty of maps was that there was at least one thing in there that
for everybody. Yep.
For you.
Yep.
There were probably 1 or 2 or 3 things in there that you didn't care for, and perhaps I'm just spitballing here. Perhaps a library and an art museum was just a bridge too far for the folks who wanted sports.
See,
for the folks who wanted sports.
Yeah, you had to balance those things.
Yeah.
So we had the cultural facilities, the symphony, the ballet, lyric theater, all that were going to be in the Civic Center. We had the library, the new library, which, all that's kind of under the cultural side. And then we had the sports facility. So, you couldn't do everything.
Right.
And
because we were building an arena and a baseball park.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a canal.
And the canal, which...
And a river.
Yeah, right. We actually built that, I guess, didn't we? So that's kind of how that came. Well, that's maps. So they were not part of maps, but they were almost part of maps, the original maps. And I'd like to say now that was the best thing that ever happened to them, because they would have been nothing wrong with being a public project necessarily, but it's kind of nice to build a private facility, and
there are limitations
and oversight and whatever.
Yeah.
And so we after they kind of licked their wounds for a while, started looking at other things, and we looked at the First National Center. You go in there, that could be a museum. Yeah. Classical museum.
So let me ask you this. When you were proposing the museum to be a maps project, had you identified the location of the Center Theater in that block?
No, that was later. So originally all of the library, the art museum, the History Center, the State History Center was going to be kind of
really
part of it, and something else. They were all going to be on the block where Devon is now. Which was called the Galleria site.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
It was a big parking garage, basically.
Yeah.
So that was the idea, that would be a cultural center, and all there at the same,
Okay.
So
I don't think I'd ever heard that either.
Yeah, right. And so the library is actually where it was intended to be in that plan.
Okay.
The library is the only one of all those. So I was continuing to help them look, and they were looking at other things. They looked at building suburban, I'm glad they didn't do that.
Oh yeah, you and me both.
And there were a number of people who wanted to be downtown, looked at the First National Center, which I just said, and other things. And at some point, it was 1995, somewhere in there. No, somewhere in there, 1998, in there, that the city was the Center Theater was sitting there across from City Hall, and it was derelict. You remember?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Derelict.
I do. In fact, when you mentioned 95, of course, the bombing, I was in the county courthouse that day. And after they had us evacuate the building, walking down the stairs, we assembled in the parking lot where the restaurant ended up being, which is now, I guess, the gift shop.
Yeah.
But that was an empty lot.
Oh, yeah.
On that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't think the museum was even.
No, it was after that.
Yeah.
It was after that. So sometime in there, before 99, because that's when the project started happening. The city was looking at tearing down the Center Theater, and the renewal is taking proposals to develop it in some way. It's right across from City Hall. It seems like pretty, today it'd be snapped up, but back then there wasn't that much going on.
Right, yeah.
So
it was almost blighted.
Yeah, and it was. So a group of preservationists wanted to preserve it, and that's an important thing to the history of that.
Yeah.
That's the last downtown movie theater in Oklahoma City, the Center Theater.
When I first moved here in 72, I would go down there on Saturday nights to watch midnight movies.
Yeah, ooh, racy.
Well, they were, second and third run movies. It wasn't porno. I mean, it was things like Harold and Maude.
I wasn't saying that, Rick. But so a group of preservationists put together a proposal to Urban Renewal to be named as a developer without having a real use. And I don't know how they pulled it off, but they did. And so the story is that before that happened, the city was planning on demolishing. Bulldozers were ready until they were successful in saving it. So, and then there were conversations and introductions, and the art museum became interested in it. I looked at it, and looked at how it might work, and that might work, and so they became the developer through Urban Renewal for the Center Theater site.
And you and you were out on your own at that point?
Well, yeah, I was part of that firm, and at the time, and still working with the museum, and I just stuck with them. And I'd left FSB and joined that became known as LWPB.
But
they were mainly they did a lot of school projects and other things, and some city projects. But when this came along, I was really focused on it. And I said, hey, I think I just want to do this. And so I was split off and had an office downtown for quite a while.
In the Hightower building.
In the Hightower building, yeah, second floor.
I went by there and looked out the window, so you could see the project from your office window.
Mm-hmm. Were you in the Hightower building?
I went to your office one time.
Back then, yeah. Oh, it was great oversight. I could look out the window, and that's, to me, it was just a very important project.
Sure.
And it doesn't come along that often. And it's not just another project. It's
right.
It's, for the city, for myself, for obviously the art museum is very important. Oh, it changed a lot of things.
It did, and they've had some world-class exhibits there.
Yeah. They went from 20,000 square feet at the fairgrounds to 20,000 or something. And, and they thought, how are we going to fill this up? But now, looking at expansions and things.
Yeah.
So
Did you have to become a quick study on temperature and humidity control?
well, like I was said, you kind of just develop it, and we also, but there are a lot of consultants, mechanical, electrical engineers, conservation. I had a huge list of different special consultants, museum, exhibit design, museum store, graphics, everything. There's quite a list. It wasn't, as we started out, you don't design architect usually doesn't design everything.
Right.
Maybe some claim they do, but especially a more complex project.
Yeah.
So like that.
Okay. So when did the Museum of Art open?
Almost 25 years ago, 2000, my mind's gone blank, 2002.
Okay. Oh, two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Started construction 2001. It took about 18 months, I think, to build. I believe it was, I can't remember the month, but yeah, it's almost 25 years.
Well, I remember when shortly after they first opened, I don't know exactly the timeline, they would have, they opened the rooftop on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Oh, man, my wife and I would spend many a Thursday night down there.
We all did.
Yeah. It was the coolest place to be in town.
It was. Now there's quite a few roof terraces around, but when we did that, the roof terrace was sort of a alternate, or it wasn't part of the project originally. It had to be added.
Yeah.
And luckily, you mentioned Carolyn Hill, the director. I didn't specifically talk about her, but I mean, she is the reason it's really why it's there. I mean,
Yeah.
From the inside. I mean, I helped and I did what I could, but without, like I started saying, without a client, without somebody who, has a need and makes it happen.
Yeah.
We don't have anything to do. So,
Yeah.
but she came at some point. I know when she came. It was when we were looking at the First National Center, and because I was making a presentation on that, and she was coming. I don't know if she was being interviewed or what, but she was there in the group, sitting on the front row. And if you know her, she was very intense, and I didn't know who she was. I said, "Who is this person?" Just kind of, just like
eyes are
drilling through. And then got to know her and became real good friends. But yeah, she was the driving force behind that, and in the end, made it happen. Getting the Donald W. Reynolds Foundation grant, which was really from the financial side what made it happen.
Right. Yeah.
That got the ball rolling.
So what have you been doing in the 25 years since you lost that job, or the job ended? You didn't lose it. You finished the job.
Finished the job. Well, a number of other, we.
I know you're still involved with the museum.
Yeah, I'm a trustee and helping with some planning and some things. Well, a firm, it's hard to follow that.
Yeah, it is.
We did things like, the OSU and OU number of projects there, and the Scott Sablish building up on Broadway.
Okay.
Which won design awards. That was a fun project. Another, again, great client. You got to to do something really good, I think you've got to have a great client in architecture, Yeah. It's not like art. I was just looking at art over here. I mean, you can just do that in your attic, and and sell it or something. So that, and then just a number of projects. Most recently was Goddard Center in Ardmore. I like to think it was almost like a small version of what we did at the Center Theater, existing building, and did some things. And they've got another phase coming up. And they're a visual and performing arts center as well.
Right. what percentage of your work breaks down residential versus commercial?
Well, now I've kind of stepped back. So it's been not much residential, but now, I will do more of that for, friends. I've got a high school friend that in Nebraska that I've designed a house for.
Okay. Are they a good client? Do they embrace your ideas and visions?
Yeah. Well, they're
Okay.
they don't have to, like I was saying, you don't have to agree on everything, but your job is to interpret what they want. If you're going to say it's got to be my way, well, you're not,
Yeah.
in my opinion, being a good architect.
Yeah.
Unless they're clueless, and then you probably shouldn't be working with them in the first place. But
So what commercial projects have you done that someone might know?
commercial projects, my firm, and then when I went back to FSB as a partner for a while, you know about that.
I know.
was
I don't
mainly-
think I did.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, for about 5-6 years or whatever, and then stepped out, to do, kind of just step back. The most of what I did was kind of, I call it civic projects and university projects. So it wasn't. You talk about corporations and that sort of thing. I was never really too involved with commercial type
Okay.
projects. So
Well, I know they've done a lot of aviation stuff.
yeah, and I did when I was there years ago. I did my share of aircraft hangars. So yeah, but that's it's Well, I know there was a lot of American Airlines and other large corporations, but with my firm, we were basically city, state, institutional like OSU, OU. Did a project Broken Arrow, their history museum. And I would say I specialized, but I enjoyed civic type projects, city projects.
So you have your own firm once again?
Well, it's just me,
Okay.
and I was kind of tapering down.
Sure.
We finished the Goddard Center, and I had a number of consultants on that. Last year, 2 years ago,
Do you have a name
And then-
for yourself?
it's the same. Allen Bryan Architects. It's been that. It's been that way for 20 some years.
Okay. All right.
The short hiatus over at FSB,
Yeah.
And when I was there, we did work at the fairgrounds and Myriad Gardens renovation, and I'm trying to think of other things we did. Oh, remember Sandridge?
Yes.
That whole renovation of the tower and all of that block renovation. And I shouldn't have laughed because they really wanted, the oil industry is just so difficult,
Yeah.
but they did a great investment there on that block. And the firm, FSB, designed the original Kerr-McGee Tower years ago, so it's kind of like
Oh, nice. Nice.
Pietro Beluschi was the design architect from years ago, and he was one of those contemporaries from 40s and 50s, very famous. But he's probably second tier below, like Frank Lloyd Wright. But got to work with him, and we were renovating
Nice.
it. It's just interesting to get to meet those people.
So you're slowing down in your career. I don't blame you one bit.
I'm 72, Rick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you look good for 72.
Well, thank you very much. I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but thank you.
I want to thank you for joining me today on This Town OKC. I build this podcast as the oral histories of the people behind the cultures, the various cultures. And you're certainly instrumental in being someone behind not just the business culture, but behind the art culture in the design of the museum downtown.
Well, Well, thank you. I was very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, and saw an opportunity for the museum, and they took it. So,
well, the city owes you a big debt of gratitude. I love that museum. Continue to be a member of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's hard to imagine it when it wasn't there.
Yeah.
The city needs a downtown. Everybody always said a downtown art museum, and so it's filled a need, filled a hole that existed, and so great. Well, thank you for saying that, and thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, This Town OKC is sponsored by Carpenter Square Theater, edited by Fred O. Bishop. It's a Lippert Media production. I'm Rick Allen Lippert.